Back. We are live. Welcome back, everyone.
We
We're
are live.
Well, we are live. We're live again.
Oh, at least.
It's been 2 weeks since our last episode. But yeah, it's been 2 weeks since our last episode. We have been been about everything. So. Yesterday was the release of Daredevil Born Again. And you've only watched one episode, Jax?
I have. I've only seen the first episode so far. But it seems fantastic.
It does. I was very happy with the first episode. So you talk about the big thing that happens right in the first 10 minutes of the episode, though.
Well, yeah, it's
just
poor Foggy.
I know.
I mean, he deserves it, I guess, but
why does Foggy deserve it?
just does.
Gosh, you always hate on Foggy.
Just simple. But yeah, it was. I mean, they kind of gave away a lot of what was going to be happening in that sort of case.
What I had noticed though in the trailer, almost every scene from that trailer was in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
That's something I liked. Almost every scene's from the first 2 episodes. Very much, yeah. We're not spoiling anything in this. We're just giving you
what you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it should be in a way.
Oh yeah. Today's game of choice in the background is Age of Wonders 4. Most not going to play it. Just going to be messing around on the race creator and making some new races to play as.
Yeah.
We're picking the Ogrekin trait race, so this one.
Because we can. So yeah, anyway, yeah. So getting into Daredevil, so it is the first of the Disney reboots of continuations.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it did really. In my opinion, it did really, really well. Especially for the first episode. Wrapping up some of those loose ends from characters like Bullseye at the end of the last couple of seasons from Netflix.
Yeah.
Getting to see where Wilson Fisk is and actually how he was planning on becoming the mayor of New York.
Yeah, that one.
So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff there.
Very much.
I mean, I was kind of wondering if maybe the big trick is that Wilson Fisk somehow found out that people didn't remember parts of his history after the Spider-Man spell, and he didn't know why people didn't know bits of his history, but it seemed to be working for him. So he was like, "I'm gonna." But no, yeah, they did what they did.
It's been very much. It's very much as he's. Yeah, he knows he was a criminal at one point. He's trying to. Something's happened in between, which we kind of know from watching Echo and watching Hawkeye. What's happened in between, basically. It is what happened in between. That's the situation that happened in between. But it's such a really nice, good way of doing this sort of series.
Yeah. His story has been, up until this point and in between Daredevil, has been told in bit parts across multiple series, which is a comic book trope.
Yeah.
And they've done it really, really well. This is what an interconnected universe, like what Marvel and Disney have, is great at. You don't need a character to be in everything, but as long as you tell their story correctly, over the few properties Grant mentions, or for little bits. You don't need a massive deal about it at the end of the day. I think they've finally started to use their massive multiverse of characters and things very well.
Oh yeah, I was incredibly happy to see. See, I can't say without spoiling anything. That's the problem, because one of their characters shows up in the second episode. Well, we've already I can say a character that we do see in the first episode during some of the news reports that are going on in the background. Such as White Tiger. We're going to see them. We're going to meet them in the series. They're quite an interesting character. Going to be an interesting character.
Yeah, we met that character in the first episode on video screens, and then at that very last scene at the end.
It's really good, but also the bit that when in the first episode, when Fisk and Matt are having the chat in the diner.
Oh, very well done.
Very well done. Like, you can see Charlie Cox is really good at doing that whole barely contained rage, because you can see that he wants to just beat the crap out of him, but he knows he can't. And it's like, this is how these two actors are really good at their characters. And Vincent is an absolutely from everything I've ever heard of him, he's like the nicest, sweetest person ever. That's what's kind of hilarious.
He is a master of his trade, and he knows so much about the acting trade from so many different areas. I follow him a couple of his social medias, and the amount of times he will pull out a reference to something from British or European entertainment history. How the hell do you know about that? But yeah.
Oh no, it's one of those.
And he's been in and amongst it for so long. I mean, he was one of his early roles was as Private Pyle in Full Metal Jacket.
I always forget that he was Private Pyle. I always forget that he was Private Pyle, because he looks so different back then than he does now. That's what's the thing.
And amongst other things that he did do, the next time that he was like a big name for anyone at all, really. I don't mean that in a mean way, but on the big, like, people go, "Oh my god, it's him." Is from Men in Black 1. He's the guy that gets taken over by the alien and drinks the sugar water.
See, I didn't even recognise him in that film. That's the funny part.
Yeah,
it's a testament to how he's kind of how he looks
100%.
as Wilson Fisk, so different than he does in any other role I've ever seen him in.
Yeah, he embodies the character that he's playing just perfectly every time.
Yeah, he is. He has like. When it was initially announced, I will agree with. I was hesitant with the same reason a lot of people were hesitant originally, is he doesn't look fat, big enough to play the character, pull him off. You know what I mean? Like initially when you see him, like knew him, but no, he definitely was the perfect choice for Fisk. The way he speaks is so, like, you know what I mean? Like, he does it in such a way that you're like, yeah, this guy's just. He's never raising his voice. When he's like about to kill you, he's just like, nope, he's been completely the same all the way through this, and it's kind of terrifying, because it's that whole this is a guy that doesn't need to raise his voice to let you know he's about to kill you. He's just gonna do it, or like.
And it's one of the great things, the great mirrors between him and Daredevil, is that the both of them are constantly holding back an immense rage, like. Every second of every day, they could just be thrashing out against something.
Yeah. It's such a good. It's so well done. No, the return to Daredevil. I'm like, I've realised today's episode is still called Avowed, because I forgot to change the name. But it's fine. Should have called it Daredevil.
Fine.
That's what I get for not paying attention to it. But yeah, it is just so well done, like legitimately well done, really well.
Yeah, and you can't argue about it. It's legit as well. It just seems like a nice hardcore series. I've seen some people complain about it, and mostly around a lot of it is around the whole Foggy stuff right at the very beginning.
Oh, you mean the fact that the first episode straight up for the first 10 minutes. This is unfortunately, if you haven't watched the episode yet, I apologise. There will be spoilers in this. That very first 10 minutes of straight up, oh yeah, Foggy dies. Just
Now, the comic book that they're actually adapting for this, or at least the villain they're adapting from this for this, is called Muse, and one of the things early on that he does to Matt Murdock to get him on his hit list is to actually blind his new apprentice. He catches up to Daredevil's apprentice and literally pops his eyes out of his head, just for a laugh. So you kind of need something that's going to drag this character back into a hyper-violent situation after a long time of not being.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the best way of doing it.
The issue is that's the thing that Foggy's death at the start of the very first episode, though, is the bit that actually makes him give up being Daredevil, and it's like, oh no. But it makes perfect sense. It's like he's just lost his best friend.
Yeah, but it also the way that they kind of hinted at it is that he hadn't been Daredevil for a while anyway, because the reason Foggy didn't tell him about the threats was because he didn't want to give Matt an excuse to hood up.
Well, isn't that the whole point at the end of if you remember the end of the Daredevil series, that was the whole point. He gave up being Daredevil finally.
Yeah, so this is why I'm kind of confused a little bit, because they're making it sound like the only time he gave up was just after Foggy's death.
Well, no, I think what it is he gave up for Foggy and Karen at the end of Daredevil, if you pay attention to it, and then it's the one time he puts out the suit back on because his friend's in danger. What happens? Foggy,
but here's
Foggy
the thing,
dies, and it's
we
like
know that's
brain. His probably his reaction is just to give it up again because he can't.
But that's the other side of it. We also know that it's not the only time he's put the suit on, because he had the yellow and red on during She-Hulk.
Oh yeah.
I'm putting this at the moment down to the fact that they did a lot of rewrites and reshoots just before release, and there's going to be one or two elements that don't match. I
have a feeling also.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I feel like there is, judging by the Foggy thing, there's a big time skip between Foggy's death and when the show is actually set.
It can't be that long though. That's the interesting thing, because of the way the Marvel universe works. They're about a year or so ahead of us anyway.
Oh yeah.
And so the way that the timeline works, where we've seen him before, where Fisk is in his candidacy and then election, it's only been around about 6 months.
Unless that first scene, by the way, the bit that makes him give up is right before the snap, and the reason the trial didn't happen for so long is Poindexter snapped.
No, we know that. So we do know that Daredevil didn't snap because we've had backlogs. We know all of this takes. This has happened after the snap. Some of the things that Fisk has mentioned, some of the things that have been shown on the background of the Easter eggs, points that this to be at the time of him being shot is around about the 2025 end of beginning of 2026. So well after the snap.
It's speculations of a lot of stuff at the minute. We've got As the plot unfolds, we're going to find out more about this, because it could be that we're both wrong. It could be that we're wrong, and it is. Foggy gets shot pre-snap, and it's, the trial was 5 years later because Matt didn't snap, but Poindexter did.
Yeah, but we do know through, like I say, we do know from things in Echo and in She-Hulk that Matt Murdock was the Daredevil during the snap. He was still active as his character during that time.
Oh yeah.
So we we know that he wasn't away from it at that period. So yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how it goes.
Could also be that we're both wrong, and it's not the Foggy thing that made him give up the mantle. It's something he did after.
But he threw Bullseye off the thing, was it? He tried to kill him. That's the bit that got him.
Yeah, he tried to kill him. It's like, oh god, Matt, what did you do?
But here's now the interesting thing. So we saw in the last time we saw Bullseye after his fight with Fisk, he was having his spine replaced with a new metal, and I can't remember what the name of the metal was, but it was something from Marvel. Well, we now have him back. He seemed to survive that hit quite nicely. And in the comic books, the metal that his spine and parts of his bones are infused with is adamantium. What have we just had brought into the into the MCU? Adamantium. So, has he had an upgrade?
And we're about to get Bullseye as Bullseye. Fucking Bullseye.
Oh yeah, it was good.
I love Bullseye.
I honestly thought that was going to end up being our first introduction to Muse, all the way up until they showed his face, which I actually did miss. I didn't see that till the second rewatching. They showed his face right at the beginning, so I only saw him with the hood on, and I thought, oh, this is going to be Muse. And then they pulled it off, and it was Dexter. I was like, oh man. And then on the rewatch, I was like, oh, it was him all along.
It's such a good scene. It's like, oh, if it was just bang, bang. And then Matt on that fight on the roof, and it's just straight up at the end of it, just ends up not pushing off the roof. I'm like, oh god, Matt, crossing the line. That was your one line you don't cross.
It's just how you see how many of those knives are stuck into his costume at the end of it. Yeah. And you've seen him knock a load of them off as well at some point. So it's just absolutely pincushioned.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely terrifying. It's like, how the hell is he still alive? And it's like, and then the other guy, his friend, opening up, looking at him at the end when he's taking the mask off, and he's just sat there crying. It's like, like you can't help it. Like, these are characters we've developed attachment to because we've watched the original Netflix series. We loved these guys, and then for the very first thing they do, oh yeah, Foggy, yeah, he died. What?
Oh, what got me as well in the second, I didn't notice it. I assumed it was him fighting, listening to the heartbeat of the person he was fighting. But then on the second watch through, I realised the whole fight, the heartbeat you're hearing is
Foggy's.
Matt focusing on Foggy's heartbeat as it's slowly. And I was like, oh man! The second when I realised it, I was like, that's dark. Mm-hmm. That's pretty dark.
And the second it stops, it's oh
yeah. That was good. I honestly thought Paige was going to get killed off as well. I thought that was going to be the 1-2 punch, because those characters, only because I know those characters were brought in late stage after the rewrites and for the reshoots, so they weren't going to be in it long.
What the thing about Foggy though that gets me the most, the fact that is that the last few weeks, the thing they've been doing with like cast videos and everything about it, have been Matt, Charlie Cox, the guy that I forget, Deborah Wolf, isn't it, that plays Vincent, and the guy that plays Foggy, I always forget his name. I can't remember his name. But
yeah,
all of them, like, just having a chat about working on the show. As if they were in it for the whole thing, and I'm like, oh, brilliant, we're getting it's basically a continuation of Daredevil, and then the very first episode kicks you in the nut, kicks you in the fucking throat. Just,
well, I mean,
I
don't know. I mean, we may get a few flashbacks where they're in it a few more episodes, and we find out exactly why this guy that they've been looking after was the key to finding that to all this. So there is a chance that we're going to get a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like I say, if you actually really watch that trailer again, it kind of it was a big opener to say that either one or two of those characters were going to be killed off, or at least fatally wounded, because the whole trailer was centered around there being a tragedy at Matt Murdock's bar. You know, the bar that they all drink at.
Something that made him give up.
Yeah. So very interesting.
And now we know what it is. It's kind of like you understand entirely why he gave up. It's like, oh.
What got me was the references that were made about Heroes of New York by Fisk.
We don't need somebody who crawls Spider-Man just as a spider or the white tiger.
he named the core heroes that cause him problems. In the comic books and in the animated shows. I'm wondering if we are going to we're going to get a cameo from Tom Holland, where they're on the roof. And the reason I mention this is because in the comics and in the animations, and even most recently in the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animations, one of the things that he always likes to do is a crossover where the two of them meet on a rooftop and have that conversation.
Is it the one where I can't tell who you are?
It's always they have a fight, they show off their skills, and then he was like, well, yeah, and it's usually a conversation of, well, I can actually see through your mask, I just choose not to. It's usually the way that conversation goes.
Well, no, if you've seen the conversation the way it goes now after One More Day, is Daredevil even states, I don't know what it is, but something stops me seeing through your mask.
I don't know.
So if the One More Day, ever since One More Day, Daredevil cannot physically see through Peter's mask because there's something protecting him, and it's the whole Mephisto thing. Because the whole point is, unless Peter reveals his identity to someone, now
they can't know it. Yeah,
they can't know it. But also, the minute he does, everything from before One More Day floods back to them.
Yeah,
they remember everything apparently, so it's like it's like locked. Where if he tells them the identity, all the memories that have been sort of altered return to normal.
Oh well,
which is
why I mean,
Daredevil even tells him in that comic of don't whatever protecting you, keep it. It keeps you safer.
Yeah, but that's why I say I'm wondering if we might get a little hint at that in one of the episodes.
Oh yeah. It would be fun to see if we did get a hint of Spider-Man being in one episode, just as even if it is literally a cameo in the background of you just see him web swinging across the background.
Yeah, or something I think would be even funnier and well, not even funnier, but just nicer, is that Daredevil's swinging from a rooftop and there's already a web hanging from the rooftop where it's been swung on like the last couple of hours.
Oh yeah, or he gets stuck in one. He's stuck. He just gets like, what the hell? It's just like a little hint, but it is. I did love that the little where Fisk was mentioning the heroes that usually give him shit. They're the ones that he has to deal with, and it's like, yeah, this actually is a pretty good way of doing this. You're subtly establishing this is definitely the MCU now because they've just mentioned the guy who crawls on the Spider-Man.
Well, they had no. So they've had their Wilson Fisk No More Heroes moment, which is quite cool.
Yeah, I do love that. That's the kind of the idea that it seems that the Fisk storyline's going down. Though is the whole, No More Heroes sort of thing of where he's trying to get rid of the vigilantes. It's like,
yeah,
and I like.
And it's quite interesting because of the way that the TV and movie MCU is. you kind of do remove a big one of the obstacles of that original storyline in the comic books, which is the mutants. Because in that they were like, no, we're our own independent state, and we've got our school in New York, so if you come near us, we will come at you with everything, and it's nothing you can do about it because we're ordained. In this case, we haven't got mutants, not in the same way. So
they're already, in this case, they're already just popping up, and because they are.
Well, part of that is in the comic book story. The part of the big problem was the mutants because of everything that was going on with them. It's like he couldn't really fully get rid of them, because if anyone said, "Well, I'm a mutant and I'm a vigilante," it's like, well, you got to go through Krakoa then, haven't you?
Oh yeah, it was all, but it's.
I'll just say it's an interesting fix that they've got a workaround to.
Yeah, in this instance, because in this instance there is no mutants yet. Well, they're the beginning of them, but they are not everywhere and all over the place.
Yeah,
because at this stage in this MCU, the only mutants we've really seen are Mr. Immortal, the ones from She-Hulk, the ones that are in She-Hulk that are at the retreat.
What I think would be really funny is that if they turn around, because one of the things that's been mentioned is that we are going to get an X-Men saga, but it's not going to be majorly affected by the Secret War stuff. And I'm wondering if it turns out that we've had mutants all along, but they've already fucked off to Mars. And they've been doing the whole Krakoa Mars shit for a long time.
The only advantage that I see is that Mr. Sinister gets to show up and be an absolutely flamboyant dickhead. That is the only upside to this I can see. Well,
I'm telling you that one of the things they need to do, and I think they need to do it in live action, in all honesty, as a TV series, just put some money into it, and that is Marvel versus Alien.
Is it the Avengers versus Aliens? Do you know what this is? What?
Tell me I'm wrong.
Do you know what this is? It's a gun. Oh, okay, a gun that shoots face huggers. What the fucking Sinister? Why? Because it's
when I saw that, I was like, I have to message you what this is in the most cryptic way possible. I was like, face hugger guns are a thing. You're like, what?
I looked at the panel, and it's the way he says it that makes it so funny. Oh, look, visitors to our humble planet. Do you know what this is, human? No, it's a gun. A gun that shoots face huggers. It's like, Sinister, have you truly gone insane? Yes, he has.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I've been reading it. It's it's just crazy.
He's absolutely just like, yeah, Sinister. It's Sinister being Sinister because he's Sinister.
Well, it's like there's at one point where the remains of the heroes are sort of fighting Sinister, and the aliens are just running around him left, right, and centre. I can't remember. It was just like, why are they not attacking you? What have you done to them? And one of them scans him. He's like, there's one in his chest. He's like, yes, I put it there. They don't seem to want to attack their own.
I put it there because they leave me alone.
You grafted one to yourself. You fucking nutjob.
Yes, and I love him. He's just, I am Sinister and I am insane. What should we do today? What in crazy cock-a-baby plan am I going to come up with today? I know, graft a chest burster to my chest.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy.
Why not? Because he's Sinister, and it's the thing is, he is the equivalent of a Saturday morning cartoon villain, and it's kind of like hilarious that's the that he is just owned.
And that's just the way they kept him. It's
just
perfect. He is such a good villain because he is just so.
Well, it makes perfect sense because everyone forgets he is not a mutant; he's a mutate. A lot of people that don't read comics forget he's a mutate because he turned himself into a mutant by stealing mutant DNA.
Yeah,
he's from the 17th century, 16th century England, so he is literally a man who's gone through like a lot of time periods, from the past to the present, and it does make absolute sense that he's lived that long. He's probably gone batshit insane by this point. he's just kind of like, you know what? Why do I do anything? Because I can, and I'm immortal.
That's it, and the way he set up his clone system as well, to kind of keep himself that way, is very good. He's all the traits that make Nick Fury this great everlasting character that's managed to survive for decades, is exactly what Sinister does, but it's a literally versions of himself and not robots. Very good.
It is such a well done way of doing it, though. It's like, I am Sinister, okay? I am insane, Sinister. Put down the crazy glue. You can't glue those two things together. Yes, I can.
But also it's just like when they're looking over David's work, and it's like, well, this is interesting.
You've gone all robotic, Jax. You're losing internet connection.
So, well, part of the whole storyline is that the David from Prometheus gets visited by a David from, I think it's a different reality. I don't think it's the future. And yeah, they've and through a series of events, they've brought the xenomorph DNA over to the Marvel universe. But it is quite funny when like Sinister gets hold of David's work, and he's like, "Oh, this is sweet. This is charming work." You know, I've seen better. I've done better. I mean, I've done better as a child, but this is, and you're not even human. You were made to be better than human, and this. I mean, I can work with it. I'm going to improve it, obviously, but it is just good. But yeah, so that is one of the crossovers I would love to actually see make fruition into some sort of Elseworld style story.
Oh yeah,
because this is a wonderful thing. Disney Marvel can do this now. I mean, Wolverine versus Predator versus Alien would be awesome.
So, are you excited for Aliens Earth?
Yes, I am. I can't wait for that.
Some people are still mad about it because it basically makes because apparently it makes it because of stuff that's happening in it, but because of when it's set in the timeline. They're going, it makes Prometheus and Covenant make no sense. And my response to that is, the more things that make Prometheus and Covenant make no sense, the better. I think we both know my stance on those particular films.
Yeah, but also one of the things we know about the travel and stuff between Earth and where they were going involved sleep. Quite a bit of it. So the events that happen in those films can still happen out there, whilst at the same time, or even previous events to this, could be happening on Earth without them affecting the other, because the timeline it takes for things to happen and get to places.
Oh yeah,
could be when these other things happen. That's not a major law change.
Was it the official timeline for like the official Aliens timeline? Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, so in order chronologically, yeah.
Yeah.
So, in chronological order is apparently this is also including the two crossover movies. Is
okay.
AVP Requiem.
Yep.
Prometheus. Covenant.
Yep.
Alien.
Yep.
Alien Romulus. Then Aliens. Then Alien 3. Then Alien Resurrection. We don't know where Earth fits in yet in the timeline properly. Apparently, it's going to fit in after Alien and between Aliens, or possibly between Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection is another hint that it could take place.
Well, that makes sense then. That wouldn't cause any problems to Prometheus.
No, but it's or apparently the other one is that it takes place before all the films, even all the films.
So that means that something can happen.
I think the reason why I think the reason why is because people seem to have this thing going. Oh no, it's because they don't make sense because why now Prometheus and Covenant. The Xenomorph didn't exist till Covenant, and it's like no. The Xenomorph existed before then. If you watch Prometheus, you can even see that the Xenomorph already exists in that movie. The ship from Alien crashed on the planet on LV-426 prior to Prometheus even happening.
Yeah. Oh, we know aliens as Xenomorphs existed before that anyway because of AVP. There's already one on Earth in that Aztec building.
Well, AVP's pertinence to canon to the storyline, we don't know whether it's officially classified as canon. That's the thing with AVP. We don't know if it is officially a canon movie for the AVP films. We don't. Whether they're canon or not is the thing that's still up for debate. Disney hasn't officially said anything about them to say they're not anymore. Officially, I say they are because I think the Predator universe and the Alien universe should be mixed.
Until someone says otherwise, I say they are. Because why would I say they are? I would say that I would argue they're definitely canon to the Predator franchise. Because in AVP, the Arnold Schwarzenegger one is mentioned, and I believe the second one is mentioned as well.
Also, the end of Aliens, also the end of Predator 2. That just immediately makes them canon to the Predator franchise.
So, if Predator 2 is canon to the Alien franchise, then all of AVP has to be canon to the Alien franchise.
I would agree with that.
If Predator 2 isn't canon, then yes, that would say that the rest is only canon to Predator, not to Alien. But yeah, I would say it comes, and unless otherwise stated, I'd say it comes down to that link in Predator 2.
Yeah, I would say that they are because even the Predator Concrete Jungle game that was specifically for the Predator franchise, final 2 levels has you fighting xenomorphs. Mentions the Antarctica thing, and the final end thing of it is Yutani Corporation and the Wayland Corporation joining together to become Wayland Yutani.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's it. I mean, let's just say then, in this case, they're all canon. I still think the cool thing to do would be Alien versus Predator versus Wolverine.
Oh yeah. But in all seriousness and all serialness of that particular franchise of Predator and Alien and all that, I will say anything that makes Prometheus and as much as some people might dislike me for it, so it makes Prometheus and Covenant less, important to the canon.
Yeah.
In my opinion, is forever and will be a plus because honestly,
there's not really much necessarily needed there from them, if I'm honest.
Because Prometheus,
I mean, they are sort of just prequel side stories.
Yeah, it's like David made the Xenomorph. No. David just re-engineered the Xenomorph.
Yeah.
That's all he did. He just re-engineered something that was already there back into existence. That's my entire opinion on it.
I'm with you.
There we go.
That's also kind of the take that. Like I said, it's kind of the take I got from the film anyway. I'm kind of confused by other people thinking he did more.
for me, it's like if you watch Prometheus, you can see in Prometheus it very clearly hints during that movie the xenomorph already exists. There's the mural in the the room chamber, the big mural. There is in the deleted scenes, which yes, deleted scenes validity is always up for debate because of but it might be in any film with the deleted scenes. If the deleted scenes were fully filmed and aren't just the CGI, like really bad CGI, if you know what I mean.
If it was removed for time and not for story, then it should still be classed as canon. If it was removed for story, then there's no reason to keep it. Well,
like one of them is literally tells them that where they find a bunch of worms in the ground, and it's the point is that they get excited because it's the first like non-bacterial life form they've found on an alien world. Like in ages, and that's also explains why those two scientists are so amazed by seeing the worm, the big snake, because it's we've just met like a worm that's like the size of like earthworms, and then oh my god, this planet actually has multicellular life, etc.
There's loads of shit here,
yeah. So they're getting so excited, and it's why they let their guard down. It's the whole point. They're not, but it explains a little bit why they get so excited later. And if that scene was in the film, you wouldn't have thought of them as just as much as it does have a bunch of stuff in it that we will both agree. Prometheus also has a bunch of shit that only the scientists only do for the plot, such as the atmosphere is the oxygen's breathable. Take off my helmet immediately instead of scanning it first for
anything.
Yeah, but it's like
it's got oxygen in it, but oh wait a minute, oh no, clouds of toxic gas everywhere.
Yeah, but oh no, the oxygen's like just slightly at too high pH value, and I burned all my lung out. But yeah, it's stuff like that. It's a bit silly. But then there's also the scene where they find a bunch of bodies piled up against the door. There's a chamber they go in. They're supposed to find like a bunch of bodies piled up. Those bodies in that scene have several with their chests ripped open from the inside, and some of them with their their heads clearly that have been bitten through. Like the whole hinting the xenomorph already exists, the thing's already here. This is not the origin of the xenomorph. This is exploring the space jockeys. That's the whole point of Prometheus, to understand the engineers.
Yeah, and that thing we get at the end, yes, it's a proto-xenomorph because what you're dealing with on that ship, the earliest literal version of the xenomorph stage, before it's had any other DNA infected into it.
Well, it's also the idea that the trilobite is not just that; it's the trilobite is meant to be. It's not even in canon. The trilobite and the deacon are not xenomorphs; they are a completely separate species. The goo because the goo is distilled from the xenomorph. Apparently, it's why the goo is so creates life. It's meant to be a mutagen. That they basically found xenomorphs, realised how adaptable and mutagenic these species were. Humans killed Jesus because Jesus was apparently an alien. By the way, that's the reason they were to wipe us out, and I'm glad they removed that part of the story. You know how we don't know why they were to wipe us out? Yeah, that's the reason they were to wipe us out, because apparently the aliens sent one of them back to visit us, and we killed him, and that was Jesus. Jesus is an alien.
It happens all the time.
Oh, I know, but it's one of those things of just. I'm glad you left that out because that was a bit of a stupid plot.
Turns out the same thing happened with Mr. Blobby.
Mm-hmm. It's like I don't need to know why this is to wipe us out. It could because if you leave that bit as a mystery, they could have just been like, oh, we've seen that humans just wiping themselves out with nuclear weapons. This is not the way we wanted them to be. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just as like they just think we failed as a species or something. Like it's any number of reasons they could think that we want them dead. We made a mistake. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's just that's just.
It's also I think because those two films try to explain where the damn thing comes from.
Yeah, there's no need to keep explaining.
No, at all.
You don't need.
I will stand by. My favourite canon explanation for xenomorphs, by the way, is in Aliens: The Destroying Angels, and that is my favourite canon explanation for why they exist and why they're so deadly in the galaxy. Because simple fact of the matter is, on their home world, they're imperfect. There are checks and balances that keep them from becoming the dominant life form.
Yeah.
Other species can eat
and they're outside of that ecosystem now.
They're outside of the ecosystem which contains them, and unfortunately, they're an invasive species. And unfortunately, they're bred on a planet that essentially has things that eat acid bleed. That they needed acid blood to survive being eaten by other species on that planet. You know, to try and deter other things from eating them. Meaning, you take them off the planet which is basically like a world that is probably a death sentence for humans to step foot on, if you think about it. You take them off that planet, and it's suddenly they're the dominant life form. Why? Because no one else evolved in a hostile environment as hostile as they did. They evolved in a death world. You evolved on Earth.
They will kill you.
Yeah, they evolved in space Australia. You evolved in space England. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Their planet is if Earth is England.
I would basically go with that.
Earth is England, their planet is Space Australia. That's why they're so deadly. You take the deadly species out of its environment and the deadly species becomes...
Your journey begins.
There's just no need to be in a place like that.
No. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm very much looking forward to the show. I can't wait to see what they do with it. I'd be very much upset if it ends up just being people walking around abysmal planet, and then every so often, yeah, just basically if it becomes Starship Troopers but with xenomorphs.
Oh yeah.
Where at the end of every episode they're mowing down 6 or 7 of them.
No, the idea is there's a deliberate reason why they chose the name Alien Earth, not Aliens. Is apparently that's why they put that in the title. They wanted it to feel that like Alien rather than Aliens. Because it's going to be very much the corporate drama of between Wei-Yu, Seegson, all the other corporations, if you know what I mean. And I have no problem with that. I actually kind of like the idea. I want to learn more about how the wider universe works, because we all know from the RPGs canon and stuff that Alien is very much a corporate dystopian universe where the corporations, human lives are meaningless. The corporations run everything, and it's a thing of. I want to understand this. I want to know how the hell this works, because this just sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Oh my god.
What did you find?
I don't know, just like, that's what it makes me like. I'm just like, oh yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Because it's like, oh shit, this is just a...
For a second I thought you found something interesting. I was like,
no, not yet. Haven't found anything interesting yet. But yeah, it's like, it's really... The Alien universe is one of my favourite. I can't wait for Alien Earth. The little teaser trailer of a ship that seems to be crashing into Earth seems like a fun idea. It's like, oh, okay. So that's how the aliens get on Earth. It's a crash. Which I really want to hope. I know it's not going to happen, and I really wish it would, but I kind of wish it would be the old comic storyline, and you know which one I'm on about.
The original Dark Horse one.
Yeah, I would love to see that storyline back. Just because that storyline is such a good idea of, you have all these corporations fighting over a xenomorph, and then you have this one church, the church, what is it, Immaculate Conception, basically.
Well, yeah, something like that, yeah.
Who just gets, like, he gets the one image of it and starts spreading it around, and you get all these cultists that are, like, treating this thing as God, and it's because the queen that they bred, queens have, that we find out finally the way they communicate so far over distances is they're telepathic.
Yep. They know what you don't know.
Which explains why they were cutting the power and all this shit, because they learned.
Oh yeah, an incredibly intelligent species. And that's the other thing about like the way that they look, they think, they act. It comes from all the different kinds of DNA. Yeah. That they've been storing away in their own systems every time they get a new person.
They don't gain the intelligence of a host, but they gain well, not the full, but they're also not they are as
they don't get their information, their knowledge, but if a creature is more intelligent than the previous sets of DNA, it takes the assets.
Oh yeah, but it's also I think it's Sherry Angel says it brilliantly, is they are the galaxy's great filter, They are the alien universe's great filter. That's the point. A civilization gets to a point in that universe and it either overcomes the xenomorphs, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Overcomes them and makes...
Or it gets wiped away.
Or it gets wiped out. They are the filter of that universe. That is the point of them.
Yeah.
It's why they're so deadly, because there are species that are stronger than them and that have beaten it. Or, example, the reason the Yautja or the Predators survive the great filter is because they turned hunting them into a sport, and they keep themselves as a nomadic species, and honor bound by a set code of conduct.
Yeah.
They don't seek technological advancement and seek the whole, which is why I still say the film The Predator is a terrible movie, and whoever wrote it, oh wait, he starred in the first Predator movie, should never be allowed near that franchise again.
They missed some big points.
He missed so much. It's like, this is an honor-bound species. They don't attack civilians. The Predator's killing people left, right, and centre. Like, how do you miss the thing that made the first two films so great? The fact that it's this horror, it's a scary space. Rules. Yeah, they follow a set of rules. They don't believe in doing all sorts of they don't need an advantage to win combat. They are a set of rules that they follow on purpose. And it's because it makes them scarier, because it's this, I could kill you, but you're unarmed, you're a civilian, you get to live.
That's it, yeah.
That person over there, he's a warrior. He's fighting, I will kill him in combat. Because he deserves an honourable death.
Yeah, like I say, the fact that they pick the more powerful person, they don't go for the weaker one of the group. No.
And it's the honor-bound thing of Predators, and I'm like, I love this because this makes them such a brilliant species in lore-wise.
Yeah. I'll completely with you on that one. I think you're right. Just think you're right.
Your destination. Your journey starts here.
But no, it's one of the things that I always just look at it and go, what the hell? With that film, Predators, the one with the multiple in it, I got behind the whole concept because you've basically shown that these are bad blood predators. These are the ones that we've heard, expanded lore we've heard about. These are the kind of, the predators that aren't really, very
nicest.
No, these are the outcasts of society. These are the ones that go against their code of honor.
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah, I can get behind this because this is giving us the insight into their culture a little bit, and insight into sort of what their society frowns upon.
Yeah, telling us these ones are different from the ones we met before, and then making them do shit that is different from what we've seen before is fine.
But then
these are the same ones.
These are the same ones. They just decided that they're going to upgrade themselves now by taking DNA from other races.
Yeah.
What? Why?
Which seems to be the opposite of would actually be the opposite of a creature like theirs, Creed.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
one of the things about it.
It's going to be an interesting watch. That is for sure.
Yeah, the new Predator film coming out apparently set in World War II, so that has me World War One. Sorry, has me very intrigued.
Yeah. Then I was going to say I was just about to laugh at it and go, he would rip everyone to pieces, but actually, that primal movie, that World War II was pretty. Not World War II. It was the Neanderthals fighting the cavemen fighting the Predator. Was really fucking good.
Oh, did Primal have an episode where Predator showed up in it?
Yeah, so there's no reason to pick the net.
But yeah,
no, I can't see that one being as epic as the first film because it has to kind of still follow the same pattern that for some reason a lone Predator is knocked the fuck down in World War One and has to somehow get from one end of the trench to the other, I guess. But it, like I say, it relies on the now belief that nearly all Predator ships are useless junkers because they keep crashing to fuck on Earth on a really regular basis.
But they don't actually crash now. If they come to Earth to hunt, like Prey's whole thing was that was the first time they visited Earth in like forever. That was the whole point of Prey. That was meant to be the first visit, basically.
And then I think you find they have crash landed on Earth a shit ton.
Well, Predator didn't crash land on Earth, which is why I think what makes the first film so good. It was literally a hunter sent down to Earth to go and do his job.
Yeah, the second film was definitely a crash. AVP was a crash. AVP 2 was a crash.
AVP 1 was not a crash. It was 3 hunters sent down. It was
What were they sent? Oh, that's right.
They were sent in drop pods. Same with Predator 2. That wasn't a crash either. The ship was under the was deliberately parked where it was.
Oh, it crashed.
No, it was parked.
Oh, who cares?
The only ship that crashed out of the entire Predator franchise in the Predator franchise is the one from AVP 2. That's the only one that's crashed out of the franchise, and that's because that one had a Pred alien on it that took the ship out. But yeah,
I'm gonna say they crashed.
Because AVP was drop pods. Predator 2 was a lone hunter sent out of the ship to go prove himself. Predators was the humans got abducted. And the Predator was the Predator involved a crash ship because the Predator the normal Predator got captured.
I'm not remembering more than one crash.
Yep. Don't know why.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anyway.
Need a beavious bar. But yeah. Aliens has a lot of crash ships in it. Usually because the alien gets fucking loose on the ship.
Very true.
Still hate that Covenant, the xenomorph, is only in the movie for about less than 10 minutes.
They didn't have the rights to use it any longer.
Guys, we've made an alien movie, cool, but why is the alien, the titular creature, only in the film for fucking nearly 10 minutes of the whole movie?
It's all we could afford. It's all we could afford.
It is genuinely the most annoying thing about that film. You're meant to be an aliens film and you're not because you're just going. We only brought it in for a minute. But yeah, it's one of them things in regards to it. What I'm going to say. So we discussed about Alien, we'll come back with another topic after the break. We're going to go on a short break today. We'll be back. The stream will still be up. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. Okay?
Ooh.
And we are back. We're back again, Jax.
Oh,
We've
no.
changed. I know, right? We've changed game in the background. Today's game. This game is called Moon. I think it's Moon. I forget what it's fucking called. It's called Moon something. It's based. It's not really a game. It's a miniatures like tabletop wargaming thing. They made a board game basically, and they designed it to sting like a miniatures game. Unfortunately,
you're selling it wonderfully.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not trying to sell it. Unfortunately, they had this thing called. They forgot the marketing division.
Yeah, some companies seem to forget that that's actually quite important.
The worst bit is it's made by the same guys who make Subnautica.
Okay.
So as you could probably guess, it would have been, which isn't a really good game.
We did enjoy that game. I vaguely remember enjoying that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm liking the models that you're creating so far, though.
Oh, they're all preset like models units, but I'm just painting this dude.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make him look less flat, if that makes sense. Because currently he just looks like a flat model, and it's kind of boring. I'm adding a little bit of colour to him.
Just a little bit of flair.
Basically, yeah.
So, one of the interesting things that has happened pop culture-wise with me, I mean, I discussed this with you when it happened, and to the rest of the world. Weird. The UK, to the people that know, are going to find it even stranger. So, watching Hell of a Boss, and they make a reference to Michael Crawford, an old British actor from a TV show from the, I think, 70s, possibly maybe 80s at the latest, called Some Mothers Do Have 'Em, amongst other things, but this was his main thing for us. And I was like, how is this guy being referenced in a pop culture cartoon of the day in America? And it turns out it's linked to, of all things, Phantom of the Opera.
Of all things, Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, who would have thought Phantom of the Opera was the big thing that would hit the youth? To the point Michael Crawford is popular amongst teens. Very weird.
It is very weird.
I think someone should start speaking to their teens about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, because they need a lot more of it, in my opinion.
I would tend to agree.
So yeah, that was my weird thing for the.
This is the default paint job for this thing, by the way. This is what it looks like normally. Looks absolutely badass. And then
that it is.
And then this is Big Bird.
Everyone loves a Big Bird.
I made Big Bird. This is a really fun game. It's fun. It is good. It's just basically a miniatures. Like, this is my team that I've made. This is my roster. This is my captain, because you have a captain. You basically and your goal is to eliminate the other team. So this is what my captain currently looks like. This is their default colour scheme.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. And then if I go to paint, click new paint job. I name the new paint job. I don't know what we name it. We'll name this Jax's Revenge.
Why not?
It's Jax's Revenge, apparently. Okay, and then we're gonna paint. We're just gonna paint Soletern. So let's paint Catalyst first. So they have a separate card token for their ship, for their weapon. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Nice sword.
Paint the sword red, and then I'm going to lower this down a little bit. 50%. Put it blue. Lower that down to that.
Yeah, what else has been going on? I mean, another one we partially spoke about earlier was Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and how fantastic a show that's been.
I haven't finished it yet, but every single episode I've watched so far has just made me go, yep, more and more. It's like...
Yeah. I like how... how many episodes are you in? So I don't want to say too much.
Let me have a look at what episode I'm up to currently. The last episode, I'm probably about an episode or so behind.
Yes, they've finished now, so.
My issue is I can't click on it without starting it, which is the problem.
Okay.
Because it won't let me view the episodes, basically. Ah, there we go. I'm on episode 7.
Nice. Well, so I mean, you've got the main gist of what's going on then.
Yeah.
I found it so interesting how the Norman Osborn in this has become Tony Stark from the MCU.
I found that interesting. It was quite an interesting twist.
Yeah, but that's what's making me wonder if the universe we are seeing here could be the one where Doctor Doom is Tony Stark.
No, I don't think they'll be related. It won't be related all to the MCU stuff.
Oh, the Doctor Doom is already from a different universe anyway.
No, but it's the Doctor Doom's from a different universe, but I have a feeling the Doctor Doom is from the same universe the Fantastic Four are from, because they're from a different universe. I reckon he's their Doctor Doom.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, it's very possible. But it's just the way that
that he's become
some
sort
of
of
the things
Tony
are turning
Stark.
out
It's like,
with he's become the Tony Osborn.
He's become Tony Stark of this universe, and it's like, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, as I've been calling him Tony Osborn. But yeah, so yeah, that's been it. I've been really liking that. I'm liking the way they're introducing characters into that in their own way. The Tombstone, Matt Gargan stuff has been really, really good.
The fact
so
that
yeah, I really
Tombstone
appreciate
and Matt
that.
Gargan is the fact that Tombstone and Matt Gargan both shown up, and I'm like, I'm on the episode where we finally get Scorpion Rising.
Yeah.
Which I'm on Scorpion Rising. That's the episode I'm on at the minute. It's like, oh god, that we are finally. It's like we're finally getting one of his actual villains. Like, you know, looking like their villain self, and I'm like, this is going to be fun. Because, honestly, I've enjoyed every villain that's shown up in this show so far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every villain that has shown up in the show so far has been really good. There's nothing in this show that is bad at all. Like, well, not bad, if you know what I mean. Nothing that, like, there's nothing in the show that I've actually genuinely been like, oh, I really want to. I'm just going to stop watching.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, whoever wrote for this show, kudos to you, by the way. You did a really good job.
Yeah. I'd say there's nothing to complain about in the show at all. I mean, it's been really good. I mean, I know a lot of people are being upset that it's not what was kind of originally promised, with it being the canon early stuff for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but actually what they've done and what they've given us has been a really a fantastic and unique take on Spider-Man in general.
Yeah, I will fully agree with that.
They're saying you don't normally get a fresh take on something in that kind of a manner. I've enjoyed it. I like the animation styles, like the storytelling. Yeah. And I like how, especially certain things, like from what we've seen with the first episode, their kind of interesting take on what Venom is, or a symbiote is, at least.
Oh yeah, how it first shows. I did love the fact that the symbiote shows up in the first episode. Like, oh great, that's going to show up again, isn't it? Eventually, if this show gets off the ground, I'm like, and you've already set up the Venom symbiote. I was so happy to see that, by the way, I will admit.
That was very good. The whole thing was done very, very well.
It was like, oh yeah, so we're going to show you. We're going to do Venom straight off the bat and just show you Venom, and I'm like, oh okay. And it's just like, oh okay.
Huh?
Just like, oh, here's Venom. Without even a second thought, and I was like, this is pretty cool.
I like their version of Doctor Strange as well. Done very well. You can tell it's a different version because of the gloves.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was quite smart.
I liked that their Doctor Strange also just I like that it very much he didn't have his powers at the start, and it's because of the spider came from a completely different fucking dimension that he got the powers. That I actually genuinely like.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the idea that it's that mystic totem thing that's just, you know, giving him his power. Because, you know, he is the spider totem of this universe.
Yeah.
I like that they've done it in a way that the spider didn't. It's not the usual radiation spider. It's this spider came from a different universe entirely.
Yes, I mean that whole storyline. I think they've done it incredibly well. I was kind of worried it would just be kind of like what they've done with Enter the Spider-Verse. And without spoiling it, they have done something a bit different from Enter the Spider-Verse there. A bit of a change on it. And it's very good.
Oh yeah, it's very good. They've done it in a very good way that makes sense for this universe. Also, I'm so happy that the character we got, like his friend in school we got was quite literally, we got Nico Minoru as a character, who's not like a character that we get to see that often in a lot of things. Usually she's not. And I was like, I'm just happy to see Nico Minoru in like an actual show for.
Yeah. But you're a bit of a fan, aren't you? So you get to geek out a bit.
I get Nico. Nico's awesome. I literally played. I played Marvel Midnight Suns, and Nico went from being this character that I've, watched the Runaways show and was like, she's kind of cool, to being, Nico's awesome and she's just a badass. You know what I mean?
Oh, she's been in it long enough to be in the Midnight Suns. I didn't know that. I thought she'd only been in it a couple of weeks.
You said this show before, Jax.
I thought she was a completely unique character to the cartoon.
You said this show before, Jax. It doesn't work the second time.
It's not a joke.
No, unlike your life, it's not a joke.
But yeah, no, done really, really well. I can't wait to see how they start integrating that into the show itself. I mean, that's going to come more from season 2, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's for me at least. It's done everything it needed to do, and it should definitely get a second season. It will come down to how many people have watched it. What the feedback is there.
Yeah, it will come down to that. Unfortunately,
I think they've done enough. I think they've done enough to.
I think they've done enough to justify it, though, in my opinion. To justify, a second season. I hope it does get one because it deserves one. It's been really good.
Yes.
It has been actually.
I think this will come down to whether or not it is good enough to get around a lot of the upset about it not being this, like I say, this canon prequel that was kind of what was on offer. I think most people will get around that after seeing what we've got. I think the key demographic for it, which is kids, are actually going to like what they got.
Oh yeah. I think the only issue it's going to get, the only issue it's kind of got, isn't an issue done by itself. Which I think is an issue. I think we've discussed it slightly on this before. It's an issue that unfortunately is going to come about because of the whole current people focusing on a culture war between each other rather than focusing on the actual threat, people that are actually the problem. If you know what I mean. But of the actor saying, who's playing Peter Parker, going, I was afraid it was going to be woke and trash, and I think that was I think what he meant was I agree with what you said, where he meant it was going to be woke for woke's sake, as if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just forced in there without any care about the actual
story or characters or anything. No. A great example would be for me. Why did I?
You said great example and then immediately forgot, didn't you?
No. For some reason, one of the security guards started shooting at me for no reason, and I was like, "Well, it's not my fault." So I'm playing a game too. I
think that looks really good, though.
Yeah, and I forgot my train of thought now. Sorry. Yes, no. The show that I definitely think that they were making some reference to would have been Velma.
Yeah.
That did not sit well with anyone.
I still love how the only reason that show got greenlit for a second season, to the annoyance of all the people that were like, "What the people that were like, this show is shit," and I'm like, you watched it because you wanted to hate watch that show.
You hate watched it to the point where it got viewers.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't blame anyone else for that but yourself.
I know. This is why I have
It
this.
was
This is
trash.
why my brain goes. This is why I have the whole thing of, if I don't like something, I don't buy it, or I don't pay it, watch it. I just don't see the point. I'm not gonna. I don't like.
I am 100% with you.
I'm excited for Jurassic World Dominion because Jurassic World. You know, the new Jurassic World film, because genuinely, I love the idea of a giant mutant monster. Because I'm sorry, but this has been the franchise's always thing has been it's clones. And my response has been, so where's my where's what happens when the cloning goes wrong?
I want my freak.
I want this to see what happens when the cloning doesn't work out the way it's supposed to, and we're finally getting that. And it's like, this thing is meant. People went, oh, but this thing's probably been new. It's gotten loose. No, this thing is meant to be old. This is probably one of the first dinosaurs they cloned. It's only alive for so long because it's a freak of nature.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the first attempts. This went wrong. Also, on a side note, I think that I've done a very good job with my captain. What do you think, Jax?
Yeah.
They stand up from the crowd. They actually look pretty good. This is Jax's revenge. Signing off. Save. They are now there you go, Jax. The captain that's actually now the captain model for the thing. And I think I know how to make this guy look a little bit better. On their wings. I'm going to do this. As you see, there we go.
Everyone's upset with me.
Why? What have you done?
Oh, well, I say that security officer flew in front of me while I was shooting the person that was killing him, and then everyone's mad at me.
Okay, so I think I found a way of making this guy look better, which is if I do a wash of 50%.
I'm not. No. Changes that.
There we go. Blame the artifact. My brain's gone crazy. Nice.
Nope, Big Bird.
No.
We're not going to save any changes to Big Bird. Big Bird we can't fix.
Yep.
Big Bird just looks
You're not going to
stupid.
fix it, Big Bird.
No.
Not today.
We'll fix. We'll have a look at these things. Now let's have a look at this character. You know what? We're going to paint this character for this one, but yeah. Jurassic World. I forgot what is the new one called. I forgot the name of it already. Because
Not one of the
Rebirth.
Kingdom ones. It's the other stuff. Yeah, that's it.
Jurassic World Rebirth.
That's the one.
It's like, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for what also comes out in that month, which is Thunderbolts and
Yep.
Superman Legacy. I don't care about Superman much, as we both established on this show. I don't care for Superman. Superman is not.
But
my
not. Yeah, you're not the biggest fan of it, are you?
No, but I will happily go and watch a Superman movie because go and watch that one because that one deserves it. James Gunn just looks like he is.
I think James are going to knock it out of the park, if I'm honest. I have a lot of faith in him and his work. I just can't see how he's going to do anything wrong.
Well, like I say, I could do something wrong, but I don't think he will. That's the thing.
No, I think he's too smart. I think he's got the right team around him. And through some sort of early viewing,
I'm judging by
one of the
the reaction so far.
issues that has come out is the jokiness again. Apparently, there's been a lot of complaints. There's been an issue. One of the things that have been criticised and people that have seen it is the comedy aspect. It's
very much typical James
yeah,
Gunn fare.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the things I was kind of hoping he would move away from with this, just a little.
A little. I think the problem is it's the only thing it's what he does well, and that's the problem. He does it that sort of style well. It's kind of his style, and it's what he's if you know what I mean. It's what he's usually hired for. If that makes sense.
Oh, I get it. I do. It's just that I mean, especially after. I mean, I watched Brave New World, and one of the things that really annoyed me about that was that there was points where it's coming close to being this really good Tom Clancy spy thriller, and they would cut these dark elements off with a joke, and I was like, well, it didn't need that, and actually you kind of made that whole part of the movie worse because of it.
I can see that. I can understand that one.
Yeah.
Like, personally, Brave New World I loved entirely.
I didn't not like it. I enjoyed it. It's just that it was so close to being like a psychological sort of
Tom Clancy
espionage thriller.
Tom Clancy movie, and then it was just.
So I mean, things like we shouldn't have known who the leader was until the leader was revealed. We shouldn't have known about Red Hulk until Red Hulk was revealed.
I will say that is my biggest issue with the trailer for that film.
Trailer gave away way too much.
Yeah, gave away far too much of Red Hulk's about Red Hulk, and I was like.
But now you've seen it as well. Do you see what I mean about the whole Betty thing?
I saw it before you remember. I saw it the day it came out.
I mean, if they got her in the movie anyway, so why not have her be the thing that stops the Red Hulk at the end of his battle? Because that would make more sense than it being Sam.
I fully agree with the fact that it should have been.
Weird choice.
That one is the weirdest choice to me. It's like, why is Sam the one that's talking him down right now? And when he's been talking about this whole movie about going here with Betty.
Yeah. Like I say, it just seems to me like it was all part of the reshoots. Like there was there was so many reshoots needed towards the end.
People are going. A lot of people say that it's not. Its budget was some 100 million, and I'm like, the official budget Marvel's released for this movie is 180 million, which it has made. Like Marvel has said the budget was not high because they didn't want to put too much budget into it. Apparently.
Well, I mean, I say it weren't high. I mean, it was reshot. I mean, it's going to be more inflated than it would need to be.
Yeah, but apparently that's with the reshoots. Their current budget, they budgeted it as 180 million, which was, which to me,
worrying.
To me, it's already made it. Well, to me, it's kind of like I think the idea is they're starting to realise they don't need to spend massive amounts on films.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, they probably didn't if they had. Once again, the best way to put it is that they wasted a chunk, even though that might have been, in comparison, the actual money that was spent, a load of it didn't need to be spent and could have thus been spent on actually making that film look and feel better, because there was one or two bits where it could have been. But so I mean, all the Serpent Society stuff, everything we see with them and Carl Esposito was last minute reshoots. That's all the stuff where the wrestler that was in it was told he was in the movie up until like the month before it comes out, and he was like, "Oh no, all your stuff's gone." That's what all that stuff was all the Serpent Society stuff. So in that time, they've not only got in named actors to recast these characters, and pay them a chunk of money. They've then had to refilm them doing it, so there is an expense there.
Oh yeah, there is an expense. There's no expenses at this thingy in regards to it. It's but apparently the movie's nowhere near. It's not cost them as much as
Yeah.
as some people try to claim it's like a massive budget, and it's like it doesn't. If you know what I mean.
Not Marvel budgets are massive budgets. I don't know what people expect.
Yeah, like. Yeah, but I think what it is they're expecting it to have like a massive budget, like like Eternals had and a lot of other movies did that haven't performed as well, and they're not realizing that Marvel might have realized we kind of need to stop spending so much because not every movie is going to be a hit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And a lot of people that go, what I will say is a lot of people that criticize the current stage of the MCU going, oh, it's not as good as Endgame, or it's not as this. Seem to be forgetting a simple fact. They fired Jonathan Majors halfway through, beginning to set him up as the big bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's the interesting thing with stuff that has been coming out with a lot of the leaks, though, is that actually how Marvel seem to be moving away from him as the big bad anyway before all of this. So it's but this comes down to an issue that Marvel has had from the very beginning. They start filming stuff and they start making all the CGI stuff first, then they start filming, and then they start changing the script around what CGI they've got and what filming they have, and then do load of reshoots, which is that also keep costing them so much money. In the past, it saved them money because they didn't change anything. Once they had a script, they kept to that script, barring a few word changes, but the plot stayed the same. So in that case, you could make the CGI a year before you start filming because nothing in that CGI section is going to change. But since they started doing an interconnected universe in which person A doing group A doing film A and group B doing film B don't necessarily know what each other's scripts are, but all of a sudden they start getting right. This has to now be part of your film. Why? Oh, because they wrote it. And then you get all the way down to the end, and both films are about to come out, and then they get another load of notes saying actually they've changed all of this chunk of stuff to this. And it has to happen on both sides. So it's been a nightmare.
I don't doubt it has. It's unfortunate. It's a byproduct of making a massive interconnected universe, and it's
a byproduct of making an interconnected universe without adapting the way that they were making their films originally.
Yeah, and I think they've just now started to do the adaptation.
Yeah.
Now because they've now realized shit, we need to adapt and do this a little bit slower and work around it, and it's like, okay, whoops.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like, oh, okay, we need to make this work. We need to do this properly because at the minute, all we're managing to do is we're having to make reshoots in other films, which are costing us more in other films where we shouldn't be doing this. Like, people are going. I will admit, I have no idea how the Thunderbolt's going to deal with Sentry because they're fighting the Void, and the Void is going to kick the shit out of them repeatedly. There's no joke about that.
No.
His name is the Void, and he's an asshole. Why is he an asshole?
And he's going to cause a lot of damage.
A lot of people. What I do find funny is when people go, "Oh, where's insert X superheroes team now?" While this fight's going on, I'm just like, okay, why would you want them to show up? Because all that's going to happen if they show up is the fight's going to end in 5 seconds, and you're going to have a really boring movie. And also
they're probably going to get fucked.
Also, why do you want them to show up? Because all it's gonna, if they show up, all that's gonna happen is you're gonna be like, oh yay, this guy's here, and then that's all people will talk about about the movie is that, oh, did you not see the cameo with blah 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 blah, that then overshadows the character whose film it's supposed to be, like,
yeah,
movie. And I'm like,
once again, not wrong.
This is why they keep cameos so as little as possible, because if they didn't, guys, there's this thing called it's oversaturation of the market.
Mm-hmm. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And under the other side of that is talk about oversaturation of the market. The next big sort of movie phase is going to be the mutants,
Oh, yeah.
which I mean, we've got a lot of interesting news about mutant stuff anyway, in the fact that we won't be getting season 2 of X-Men 97 anytime soon. It's not looking like it's going to be this year.
No, it's apparently going to be. Maybe it's possibly going to be next year or so.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that all is meant. The idea is that's all meant to then line up with the X-Men movies coming out.
Maybe. Sorry. Oh, but and Bo, but to his usual shit. By the way,
Well, Bo's a fool.
Bo is just like.
I mean, at this point, anyone listening to him is just.
I don't know why other people actually listening to him anymore. Just like guys, stop listening to this idiot.
Huh?
He's not this prophet. He doesn't know everything, and it's like the problem with the other issues. They hold him up to this be the guy who knows everything. If you know what I mean. And I'm like, guys, he is not the sole person responsible for the entirety of the.
Oh, he wants you to think he is.
Yeah.
He wants to. He really does want to be the Stan Lee of Marvel animation, and he's never going to be that.
No, he's not. He's not, and it's kind of funny how he thinks he's going to be, and I'm like, just shut up, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, that's the way I see it. Is that I mean, he kind of wants to be more than he is, which is nothing wrong with that. But unfortunately, he's put himself in a situation where he can't be. And instead of owning up to it and just going, "Yeah, I fucked up," he then started trying to blame everyone else for his mistakes.
Yeah.
At first it made it sound like he was getting fucked over from morality causes. And both of us were like, that's just stupid. You can't do that. We were both very against that kind of shit. And then all of a sudden it turns out, actually, no, he was a massive arsehole to work with.
And this has come out not just from Disney, this has come out from the Netflix series that he's worked on, the other stuff he's worked on, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is coming out from all sorts of people who have worked with him in all sorts of projects, and it's like, okay. Maybe Bo Meyer is not the person that people keep thinking he's trying to show himself off as.
And the thing is he really did rely on the fact that he was relying on the fact that Disney would keep quiet.
Yeah, and then Disney straight went no
through the mud.
And then Disney went, fuck you, we've had enough.
Yeah, and then literally just released all the reasons why they were having an issue with him. It had nothing, and in the end, it had nothing to do with his OnlyFans page. It had nothing to do with his sexuality. It had nothing to do
going to robot mode again.
With banking complaints.
Yeah. It's the fact that we've got the receipts. You really don't want us to release the receipts, do you? And he's like, go ahead, release them.
That's what I just think is the most dumbest thing ever.
He basically played the fuck around and find out card, and that's what happened.
With the mouse.
Yeah.
And you don't, and everyone knows at this point you don't mess with a mouse.
Yeah. It's the mouse's house. You don't mess with it.
Yes, that's a very interesting choice of things to do. Why he did it, we will never know.
Yeah. He made the mistake of trying. Like, if he'd have shut up about it, Disney would have kept quiet, wouldn't have given a shit, would have not even engaged. You know what I mean? Like, even released why.
Yeah. Yeah, would not have cared. It would have got away with it too if it wasn't for us chickens.
He'd have gotten away with it
Genius.
too if it wasn't for the fact that he can't keep his mouth shut.
Yeah.
Because you
That's what
said
it came down to,
he wants to be the Stanley of the Marvel's like animations, but he's not. He's just
He's not that dude.
no.
And he will, to be fair, never be that dude.
And that's his own fault because he decided to be a dick. It's like,
There's tons of people out there would have loved the opportunity to beat him right now. Or back then.
yeah. And now most of them are like, nope, didn't want to touch this dude.
Yeah, pretty much. He made himself untouchable, which is just crazy.
Yeah. And it's like, oh. And you just like
Yep.
think to yourself, why would you do this to yourself and be an idiot and say this stupid shit?
Some people just can't help themselves. That is the other thing.
Yeah.
Literally could not help themselves.
Like, I have nothing against the dude himself personally, nothing against him. You know what I mean? But God, if he'd have kept his mouth shut, he'd have been like, he could have possibly,
Superstar.
he could have been fine. He could have been saying shit, but it was the fact that the fact that the stuff he was saying was starting to affect them and get people questioning that. He's like, and I'm sorry, but you try to say that they fired him over his sexuality, and I'm sat there going, dude, this is Disney. They may not be the best, but they kind of are the one company that seems to have consistently had LGBT plus representation, in their shows and shit for years.
At the end of the day, they know where no joke, all joking aside, they kind of know where their bread is buttered.
Yeah.
And for a large portion of their shows, it's the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, which is
dragging them along.
Their decision to change a trans storyline in a show to being a Christian storyline with the exact same thing, basically, of this person being possibly bullied for it and stuff.
Yeah.
And basically the journey of trying to discover who they are, but oh no, I'm discovering who I am. I'm Christian. It's like we don't need this discovery. We don't need this story. And you've just straight up made a very silly
that's
thing.
a silly, very silly storyline.
Yeah, like there has never been in any show ever a problem with having a Christian character in a show. Like that's kind of the point. No one gives a shit what religion you are. The problem is, and I will say this now, the only time people have ever had an issue with Christianity is when Christians try to force it on everyone else. And that is the only thing.
Yeah. Not wrong there.
But, because I have friends that are Christian, I have friends that are various different religions. I do find it funny that the Mormon church is completely different in the United States to what it is over here in the UK, though. That is my biggest shock. That the Mormon church over here is so different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting group.
Oh yeah. But yeah. It's just one of those. It's just a weird thing, and it's like I just find that weird over different countries. How certain things are so different in different countries.
That's one of the things that fascinates me when I move around. Just how different everyone is to doing their own thing. And half the time, everyone's crazy as each other.
Oh yeah. Crazy seems the default human emotion. I've noticed that.
Oh yeah, it's just normal state.
It's just our normal state for some reason. Humans are just crazy by default.
We'll take it. Fuck it. But yeah, I guess as long as we survive, we're good.
Oh yeah. However much longer that'll be, we'll find out in a few. We'll find out by the end of this year, I think.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I actually like that. That is cool.
Ooh.
Like the red with the the blue fur bit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show this on the yellow. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff about this game. Not about this game, about the shenanigans going on around everywhere at the minute. It's just about everything. It's just funny, if you ask me.
There are some funny elements to it, I'll give you that.
But yeah.
Some of it is heartbreaking and tragic, but...
Oh yeah, we know.
Ooh.
But in all seriousness, about everything, about Daredevil Born Again, amazing, loving it. The Spider-Man Friendly was I need to finish it. I've just gotten distracted because I started watching another show that we've talked about quite a few times on this, Next Generation.
Yeah. Me and my wife are still watching it.
I'm on season 3, episode the Enemy.
Yes, a classic episode
Where they pick up, the Romulans and Geordie's.
Yeah.
And Geordie gets stuck on the planet left behind. It's so good. I forgot how good this episode was. It's one of those episodes where LeVar Burton gets to actually, flex his, acting skills.
Yeah, it's a very, very good episode. Done incredibly well.
Yeah, it's really done very well. It's just one of those episodes where he gets to flex his acting skills. I'm like, yeah, LeVar, just go for it, man.
Just do your thing.
Because he's a lot of people underestimate just how good LeVar actually is.
He is a very good actor. He kind of did get stuck. Not say stuck, but it's not the right word. But just doing Star Trek and reading Rainbow. But in the few things that he has done outside of that, he's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no. So we've been watching. Me and my wife have been doing the Star Trek complete chronological timeline, as it currently stands, with one exception of watching Discovery. I just can't. We're doing everything else, and we're currently on Next Gen. We're doing quite well. What did we watch recently? It's we watched The Battle. Was the last one we actually watched, in which Picard is given back the Stargazer as a gift from the Ferengi.
That episode.
And we see the Picard maneuver being used. All very fun. But yeah, we're enjoying it. It's handy.
Oh yeah. It is incredibly handy.
Well, you never know, especially when you're introducing a partner to this stuff. I know mine has watched Next Generation at least before, not so much any of the other stuff. So I knew there was some element of interest, but you never know. Because the other things I've introduced through have been things like Red Dwarf, and even and The Boys, and what was it we watched? Orville. So yeah, we've had those. Orville was very good. We only got a couple of episodes in before other things did take precedent. But yeah, I haven't managed to get Doctor
You haven't managed to get
Who
Doctor
down quite yet.
You haven't managed to get down yet. I am disappointed.
No.
in you guys.
So what happened is, we have watched an episode. We've watched the first Christopher Eccleston. No, we watched the first of the Doctor Who specials with David Tennant, because they were really big out there at the time in America. So we watched the first one of his comebacks.
Yeah.
And my eldest daughter watched, whilst around the family member's house, watched the first of the Weeping Angel episodes. So there is interest there now, and I was like, oh yeah, great, let's watch them. When should we start? Should we start from 1960, or should we start from the early 2000s?
Yeah.
And the look on the face was like, do we not just not start? I was like, I've scared you away.
Do you not just start at the modern ones? I would say this with Doctor Who, it's one of those shows where I would say, for introducing new people, as much as I am a fan, and I think we both know my favourite Doctor is Tom Baker and will forever be Tom Baker.
So
Tom Baker. I do say for new people, it is probably better to introduce them to new series first. And
yeah, I completely understand, but like, what new series?
I would personally start with Chris.
Yeah, that's it. So that's where I would start.
Because to me, Chris is just fucking awesome.
So, but I mean, like I say, this is where I would naturally start with the Chris Eccleston stuff, because there is a natural break and beginning there anyway. But here's the problem: that is still 20 years old.
Yeah, no.
That is still 20 years worth of TV, and that is very intimidating already for someone. So I was like, well, we could watch from the shooty stuff. Well,
that's only a year.
That gives you enough to get into it and go, oh, I like this character. But the only way, the way to start with the shooty stuff is to start with a David Tennant thing. And I mean, and it's kind of annoying that maybe they should have started the shooty stuff off without a regeneration. Maybe we got told the regeneration later. Because even getting new people in, you can't actually start with the shooty stuff, because you have to then start with the David Tennant stuff at least.
Oh yeah, I know.
And that only takes a year off. Yeah, I'll get there. When I'm out there again, I'm definitely gonna force the family to watch Doctor Who.
I actually kind of like this.
I know. I think it's a good idea too.
The metallic one. Have you seen the metallic face on like the red bits, where leaving the rest of it just like glossy, so it's a bit shiny? But like the
you talk. Yes, I do. I like your little.
That is just a.
I mean, it kind of looks like a tug from Star Trek. But yeah, no. Sorry. I thought you was talking about my decision to force family to watch Star Trek.
I will agree with you on the
I thought you
to make them watch Star Trek. But definitely should watch Star Wars and Star Trek and everything. They should watch it all.
Star Wars. I don't. I mean, I can give and take that as that being part of their gap in their knowledge.
I can forgive that one. Why? Because I don't want to watch Star Wars anymore.
I don't want to watch Star Wars anymore.
I don't.
Do you know what?
I don't blame you. Because to be honest, I have a love-hate relationship with Star Wars, where there are some shows I absolutely, of the new stuff I love. The sequel trilogy, I think we've discussed it multiple times. My opinion on the sequel trilogy is they did the best they could, considering the middle film basically messed up the whole story arc.
Yeah.
And I will. The last film, not amazing. I'm never going to say the last film. The Rise of Skywalker is an amazing film. I think it's shit still, but it's better than what it could have been. It's like it was basically crap. Kylo Ren's not meant to be the bad guy. Why the hell have you suddenly made him the bad guy by killing Snoke? I need I need a bigger bad guy. The Emperor.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely. You're 100% right. the other thing that just annoyed me recently with Star Wars is that, with how fantastic Skeleton Crew was, and with the numbers of viewers it was getting, compared to all the other Star Wars stuff that they've brought out, it's looking like we won't get a second season of that because it didn't any Nielsen ratings. But I don't know what I really just don't know what they want anymore, if I'm honest.
I think the problem is they're
I
in
mean,
the
for me,
I
Skeleton
think
Crew was
also
awesome.
over there right now, because Disney's an American company, and a lot of companies. This is the first time you're ever going to hear me talk about my entire anything to do with politics in this, because of what is happening in the US right now. I do feel like, no word of a lie, that so many streaming companies that are over in the US right now are suddenly trying to figure out what the fuck do we do, because there is going to be probably over the next few years, if things carry on, going to be a lot of people just out of protest cancelling like Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon and stuff, just in like quite large numbers to go basically in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, shit. Do we move our operations and just get out of the United States, or do we stay in the US?
It'll be interesting to see what happens. To be fair, I honestly don't know. I can see companies like Amazon having that issue. Not so much Disney, but we'll see. We'll 100% see. But yeah,
Well, we'll see what's going to happen over the next few years. It's the stuff that's going to happen. It's going to cause loads of shenanigans.
yeah. I mean, we're going to see some big changes in the next few months and years. We're in all kinds of things, not just in media, but in everything.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, so yeah, just have to roll with the punches. It's going to be interesting to see how certain things play out, especially when it comes to sort of the ephemera we get for certain fandoms, the figurines, the props, the action
so because
figures.
a lot of that shit is a lot. Oh, the next 4 years are going to be hell for everyone, and then
Well, a lot of the components are made abroad for American companies, and left, right, and centre. So these taxes are going to be doubling and tripling on just singular items now because of the way that they're moving around. So those prices will balloon something rotten.
I know it's. Unfortunately, we can't predict anything that's going to happen over the next few years because we don't know what's going to happen. But as far as we know,
that's true enough said.
As far as we're concerned at the minute, is until we hear more about it, we're not going to know more about it, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I also like that paint job. That is actually kind of cool, just a metallic beast. I called it a Targ.
Because it is what it is. I mean, yes, I say that is just something that we'll have to work through as it happens. But shouldn't really worry too much about it until it does.
Oh yeah.
The movie I'm kind of excited for, it is. Oh, it comes out in May. Me and my wife are going to go and see it.
Oh, what's that? One?
I'm having to check now. Oh yeah, so we've got 28 years later.
Yep, that's gonna be that's the film I want to go watch when it comes out finally.
Yeah, but I didn't think that was May. Let me just double check. I know there's one I want to see with the wife, one I want to see with the eldest, and one I want to see with the youngest. So What was it? Oh, the new Final Destination Bloodlines. That's what I wanted to see with the eldest.
Oh, the trailer for that made me immediately want to go see it, just because
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was like, oh,
100%.
you didn't give us a trailer which is like, we're going to show you what the big thing that's going to, cause everyone to turn around and not do anything. No, we're going to just show you this random death scene from the movie of this random character.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be a completely different death scene to what's going to happen to them in the film, and I am all for that. If that guy dies in a completely different way in the film, I will be full well with it. You know what I mean?
I've got nothing wrong with that. Yeah. So that was it. So I wanted to see Thunderbolts of the Wife. I wanted to see the new Final Destination with the eldest, and Lilo and Stitch live action with the youngest.
Oh, Lilo and Stitch live action looks fucking up. Looks the little teaser bit for it looks bloody hilarious. I was like, I want to see this.
What's really annoying is that in June the live action How to Train Your Dragon comes out, which is my youngest favourite thing in the world, and I won't be able to go and take it to 6. I'll be back here. So yeah, but yeah, Beth can do it.
Yeah. But yeah, in regards to everything that we've got, the stuff that we've mostly talked about today has been very much been the whole. We know what's going on. It's been very much the whole. At the minute, I do think at the moment a lot of the issues that people are complaining about with the Marvel Cinematic Universe at the minute. Now, this is not 100%. This is just me personally, from my personal opinion, due to everything. I think the reason a lot of the issues that we're seeing at the minute are happening isn't because Marvel doesn't know what it's doing and can't recreate the magic. It's because, unfortunately, it is, I think, partially due to the whole Jonathan Majors thing and the fact they had to the way they produce the films, where they had to keep reshooting and stuff. But it's like, because they brought Jonathan Majors in and didn't realise, we're going to make everything around him. Didn't realise because he was just going to be a one-off villain. They only wanted Kang as a one-off villain in that one film.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan Majors came in and he was just so good. They wanted to swap everything around.
The other issue is I think fans haven't reset their expectations. They expected every movie to be Endgame, and not every movie can be Endgame.
No.
You have to lead up to that. And unfortunately, they kept trying to make each film this big spectacular, which you can't have. And on the other side of that, they were trying to make each film a link to another film, which also you can't have. And so there's two things going on there. On the fan side there's way too much expectation for each film because you didn't have that. You weren't in endgame numbers with the first Iron Man or the first Captain America or even the third Captain America or the third Iron Man. You just weren't getting those numbers. That was a special thing because of everything that came before it, and that's what you have to build towards. And yet you can't expect spectacular. You should expect a good film. You shouldn't expect groundbreaking every time. Not everything can be the best it's ever been. It's impossible.
No, it isn't. It is absolutely impossible.
People could try though. It's never going to be that.
Oh yeah, they're welcome to try. I fully agree with it. It's the idea that like, oh yeah, it's going to be like Endgame. Everything's going to be Endgame was like they've set the bar so high. I'm like, everyone expects Endgame, and I'm like, it's never going to be. Endgame was a fluke. It was not a fluke, but you know what I mean. It was a.
It's definitely not a fluke, but it was over a decade. Well, I mean, it's nearly 15 years.
Yeah, so that's what I mean.
My entire adult life up until that point, they were making movies to prepare the groundwork, prepare the fan base for Endgame.
Yeah, that's the point. These movies were literally being set up to follow on from a specific set of storylines that had been specifically speeded up. We're in that stage again, and then in the middle of that stage they had to fire an actor and then go, shit, we just reworked everything to work around this guy. Now we've got to completely rework it around something else. But we don't want to lose the multiverse handle, and it's like, honestly, the only reason Robert Downey Jr. is even back, and this is my opinion, is they brought him back because they realised he's a quick actor they could hire just to play Doom, so that they could salvage the multiverse thing by just doing God Emperor Doom.
Yeah, 100%. I think, I mean, you've got it. You nailed it on the head there with a way of salvaging everything. I think they had a great idea with the multiverse, but very early on they started to convolute it with Secret Wars stuff as well. You know, we were going to have this Skrull invasion, and we didn't know who was who. But and I can see in a world where everything was perfect, where you would have these two interlacing stories where you not only didn't know what character was what character because of the Skrulls, but then all of a sudden you have this now secondary issue of other people looking like other people but from a different universe. And as you fix one problem, you then realise there is another problem, and that's how the two different sagas would have linked into each other. But the Secret Invasion didn't work, and they were never going back to it. None of the other barring one or two things like Spider-Man and Multiverse of Madness, they kind of gave up on the whole multiverse thing because there's tons of characters that were there primed to go visit the multiverse, but instead of working within those characters, they worked on others. Like Shang-Chi, we know his lineage is from a different universe. Have a Shang-Chi film where he's now visiting another universe. He's broken the multiversal barrier. But no, instead we get Captain Marvel, where at the end they break the multiversal barrier. And
I know it
seems like the whole thing has been a little bit half-assed.
Oh yeah. I don't think it's half-assed on purpose. I think what it is a culmination of the way that they film, not realizing that if you're going to make interconnected stories, you need to write the scripts for all the films simultaneously, so that they're all linked and stuff. But I think it's that thing as well of you need to make sure that when you're doing this sort of stuff, when you're making these films like interconnected, you're gonna, as you say, write them all together at the same time, and then go and do the whole multiverse angle end credits bits where you then. But if they want to do the scroll bit, I think the other thing is Secret Invasion was far too late.
Yeah.
It should have been, and I will stand by this, Secret Invasion should have been before, like, after Captain Marvel 1 came out, right?
Yeah.
Should have been definitely before, like, before the, the current stuff, if you know what I mean. Like, it should definitely be before now, because
in my head, this is how I would have done it. In my head, is that you would have had Secret Invasion come out around about the time it did, and you have all the bits and bobs that come out. I mean, do it a little bit better. Don't have that weird fight with Cersei at the end there for no reason. The Game of Thrones woman, you change that, but then what you start having throughout the end of the films, instead of doing multiversal films, past Far From Home, you have bits at the end where it's the Illuminati having a conversation with each other in the darkness. You don't get to see who they are other than a few hints.
Yeah.
But then after one of the things, let's say it's Captain Marvel gets kidnapped, or whoever, one of the heroes we know gets kidnapped at the end of one of their films in an after scene credit, and they get brought amongst the Illuminati, and that's when one of them says, or in this case, perfect, it'll be Rhodey, and they go, and they've captured Rhodey, and as they're asking questions, one of them goes, that's not Rhodey, that's a Skrull. That's how we then got the big reveal that Rhodey was a Skrull, and the Illuminati kill him. Boom.
Not the reveal
we,
at the end.
That's how we get that reveal, is through the Illuminati, and that's when we get the classic reline from the Infinity Saga. If we can't get one of them to do it, fine, we'll do it ourselves. That's when the Illuminati gets shown to be variations on characters we've already seen, including a Tony Stark Doctor Doom, and one of them stands up that we don't see who it is and walks off and says, I can do it. And that way you don't know what hero has been infiltrated at this point by a multiversal character. And then we know Marvel itself are reading from doppelgangers that are actually aliens, so they could be looking for an alien doppelganger, which is a perfect way of and reason why a multiversal doppelganger would get away, because they're not looking for them.
Exactly.
I think that would be a better way of doing it, instead of this jumping around on different ideas until they got something that could roughly stick.
I think the problem is that they didn't do it right. They did Secret Wars far too late, and then it only mattered for that one series, and we're never going to go back to that series because the series was honestly terrible. Secret Invasion, sorry, but you know what I mean. If they'd set it up like so many, like they could have set up so many shit in that, so much stuff in that, like, you know.
There was so much ready there to go.
Yeah, and it's just, no, we're not going to set up any of the shit that we could have set up.
Well,
it's just one of those things. Secret Invasion was honestly a show that I think was not well done at all.
No,
now,
it was not.
We've had a break. We've discussed many things. Unfortunately, because we're at the beginning of a new series, we're probably not going to have much to talk about until the next episode. We will be talking about probably all three of the first three episodes. All four of the first four episodes of Daredevil Born Again, because by that time four of them will be out. Unfortunately, the other series is still on hold. We've got plenty of showcase stuff to go through, including some games that we weren't expecting to enjoy as much. And you get to see me rage quit.
Very lucky.
Rage quit. Very first showcase rage quit.
Yes.
To which Jax didn't stop laughing at me for about an hour after doing it. So you're very well.
It was
okay.
It did just have to happen. It was awful.
Yeah, it's not a knock on the game. The game itself, I thought, was pretty fine. It's a knock on. I can't play those sort of games.
It was It was just that it. You'll see.
But yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything for it in regards to it.
Anywho.